The plane lurched violently, a guttural roar from the engine slicing through the recycled air like a scream. Elena Vargas, CEO of Vanguard Innovations, had faced boardroom battles that could topple empires, but nothing prepared her for the way her body betrayed her mid-plunge. Her head snapped sideways, crashing onto the shoulder of the stranger beside her, a broad, flannel-clad arm that smelled faintly of baby shampoo and fresh coffee. For a split second, the world blurred into chaos, the overhead bins rattling, a child's wail piercing the cabin, and her own heart pounding like it had just remembered how to feel something raw. She jolted awake, cheeks flaming, and yanked herself upright. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," she stammered, smoothing her silk blouse as if it could erase the vulnerability etched into her skin. The man didn't flinch. He just turned his head slightly, his hazel eyes crinkling with a warmth that felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "No harm done," he said, his voice a low rumble, steady as the earth after a quake. "Rough flight. You looked like you needed the rest." Beside him, a little girl, no more than 5, with wild curls escaping her ponytail, clutched a stuffed elephant, her wide eyes fixed on Elena like she'd just witnessed a magic trick gone wrong. Elena forced a smile, the kind she reserved for investors, polished, impenetrable. But inside, her mind raced. Who falls asleep on a stranger? She was Elena Vargas, the woman who'd built a tech empire from a garage startup, the one Forbes called the Iron Orchid for her unyielding grace under fire. Sleep was a luxury she rationed like venture capital, 5 hours max, always in her penthouse overlooking Manhattan, with the city lights as her only companions. Yet here she was, on a red-eye from New York to Seattle, her neck crickling from the betrayal, and this man, this nobody, had just caught her in a moment of pure, unfiltered humanity. She glanced at her reflection in the darkened window, sharp bob haircut, minimal makeup, the faint lines of exhaustion carving canyons around her eyes. At 38, she looked every bit the powerhouse, but felt like a ghost haunting her own life. The flight was meant to be a quick pivot to close a merger that would catapult Vanguard into AI dominance. No distractions. No weakness. But as the plane leveled out, the captain's voice crackling over the intercom with apologies for the minor turbulence, Elena couldn't shake the imprint of that shoulder. Solid. Real. Unlike the hollow echoes of her corner office. "I'm Marcus," the man said, extending a calloused hand as if they were old friends at a backyard barbecue. His grip was firm but gentle, the kind that said he'd lifted more than briefcases in his day. "And this is Lily. Say hi, Bug." Lily peeked out from behind her elephant, her thumb lodged firmly in her mouth. "Hi," she mumbled, then added with the brutal honesty of children, "You snored a little." Elena laughed, a genuine, belly-deep sound that startled her as much as the turbulence had. "Guilty as charged. I'm Elena. Nice to meet you both. What's got you two airborne at this ungodly hour?" Marcus ruffled Lily's hair, eliciting a giggle that bubbled like champagne. "Family visit. Lily's grandma in Seattle, she's the one who taught her how to make pancakes that don't stick." "What about you? Business or pleasure?" "Business, always," Elena replied, the words tasting like ash. She pulled out her tablet, the screen glowing with emails marked urgent, projections, NDAs, a reminder from her assistant about the 7 a.m. pitch. But Lily's eyes lit up at the device, her curiosity overriding shyness. "Is that a magic book? Does it tell stories?" Elena's thumb hovered over the power button. Stories? Her world was algorithms and acquisitions, not fairy tales. But something in Lily's gaze, the unjaded wonder, tugged at a thread she'd long ago buried. "It can," she said softly, swiping to a blank note app. "Want me to draw you a dragon?" What started as a doodle turned into an impromptu sketch session, a fire-breathing beast with Lily's elephant as its sidekick. Marcus watched with quiet amusement, interjecting details like "give him polka dot wings," Lily's favorite. The plane hummed on, the cabin lights dimming for the overnight stretch, and for the first time in years, Elena forgot the merger. Forgot the metrics. She was just drawing. Laughing. Alive. Hours slipped by in that suspended bubble. Lily dozed against Marcus's other side, her tiny chest rising and falling in rhythm with the engines. Elena should have had to work, but her eyelids grew heavy again, the adrenaline crash hitting like a wave. "You don't have to stay awake on my account," Marcus whispered, noticing her yawn. "Flights like this are made for stealing moments." She hesitated, then let her head tip back against the seat. "Tell me about the pancakes," she murmured, more to keep the conversation alive than anything. But Marcus took the bait, his voice weaving a tapestry of simple joys: Sunday mornings in their cramped Brooklyn apartment, flour dusting the air like snow, Lily's laughter echoing off the walls as batter sizzled. He spoke of his wife, gone 2 years now from a sudden aneurysm, a thief in the night that stole her mid-lullaby. One day she's singing Twinkle Twinkle off-key, the next, silence, he said, his tone steady but laced with the gravel of grief. "I was a mechanic before. Grease under my nails, engines that I could fix with my hands. But hearts? Families? That's a breakdown you can't wrench back together." Elena's throat tightened. She knew loss, not like his, visceral and shattering, but the quieter kind, the fiancé who'd walked away when her career eclipsed their weekends, the parents who'd faded into nursing home visits squeezed between quarterly reports. "I'm sorry," she said, the words inadequate, a placeholder for the empathy she rarely voiced. "That sounds impossible. How do you do it? Raise her alone, keep smiling?" Marcus shrugged, but his eyes held a depth that made her chest ache. "You don't have a choice. Lily's my North Star. Some days, it's just surviving, late shifts at the garage, daycare roulette, wondering if I'm screwing it all up. But then she looks at me with those eyes, and I remember, love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when you're running on fumes." The words landed like a gentle punch. Elena stared at her hands, manicured but trembling slightly. Showing up. When was the last time she'd done that for anyone but a spreadsheet? Her life was a fortress of firsts, first female CEO in her firm's history, first 7-figure deal before 30. But the cost? A calendar of ghosts, birthdays missed, friendships frayed, a bed that echoed with solitude. "I envy that," she admitted, the confession slipping out like a breath she'd held too long. "The showing up. My world's all velocity, no pauses, no. This." She gestured vaguely at the trio, Lily's soft snores, Marcus's quiet vigilance, the in-between space they'd carved mid-air. He nodded, no judgment in his gaze, just understanding. "Velocity's a hell of a drug. But sometimes, the best things happen when you hit a pocket of still air." As if on cue, the plane shuddered again, this time, a deeper dip that sent trays clattering and passengers gasping. Lily bolted upright, her elephant tumbling to the floor. "Daddy! The monster's shaking us," she cried, tears streaming, her small body rigid with terror. Marcus scooped her up in an instant, murmuring comforts, but she thrashed, the fear amplifying into full meltdown. "It's okay, Bug, it's just the sky hiccuping." But his voice cracked, exhaustion etching lines on his face. Elena's heart twisted. She'd faced hostile takeovers without blinking, but a child's raw panic? That was uncharted. Without thinking, she unbuckled and knelt in the aisle, ignoring the flight attendant's raised eyebrow. "Hey, Lily," she said, keeping her voice low, like coaxing a skittish-up prototype to life. "Remember that dragon we drew? He's out there right now, flapping those polka-dot wings to steady the plane. See?" She pulled out her tablet, quickly animating a crude loop of wings beating against clouds. Lily's sobs hitched, her eyes locking on the screen. "He's saying, hold on tight, little one. I've got you." Slowly, the thrashing eased. Lily reached out, her sticky fingers brushing Elena's. "You're brave," she whispered, as if bestowing a medal. "Like the dragon lady." Elena swallowed hard, the weight of those words heavier than any boardroom accolade. Brave. Not brilliant, not unbreakable, just brave. Marcus mouthed a silent thank you, his eyes glistening in the dim light. In that moment, mid-flight, with the world tilting 30,000 feet below, something shifted. Not a seismic merger, but a quiet realignment.